maybe listen to him speak. No matter what, just let it go.
Pop, persuadable. What's going on, boo-boos? Yo, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming out. I have a translator who is absolutely remarkable and got a lot of the translations done for us. So we're going to talk about all of the big changes. There's going to be some big changes to what we refer to as the persona web. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening right now, and I want to talk about it while we can because I actually think that this is going to be pretty significant. I don't think that there are a bunch of insignificant persona trait changes, and we're going to get into that in terms of what to expect from these changes, and the ones that are good, the ones that maybe not matter so much, but I do think that they're going to be more beneficial to the players. I also think that they make more sense, and that's a very important thing, because they're not only changing some of the personas, but they're also changing where they're located. And I genuinely think that a lot of these additions make sense. Not all of them, but some of them. So let's talk about some of the changes. I'm going to try to include some text in the final video so we all know exactly what to look for. All right. So that first thing that I want to talk about is Symbiotic Effect. So Symbiotic Effect, this is going to really just kind of affect more so the doctors. I think this is one of the more least important changes that are happening too. So right now, as you guys can see, the movement speed is increased by 2, 4, or 6% when running towards survivors and rocket chairs within 30 meters. This is actually going to change to 2, 4, and 6%, which is where it's at, without a 30-meter limit. So essentially, once you start running towards somebody who's in a rocket chair, that movement speed increases right away. Now, that's actually very good for doctor users that have to try to relocate across the map. Whether this is really going to cause any sort of differences, I'm not too sure, just because now there is going to be some changes where some of these other persona traits are. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the differences here. So Horsefly Effect. When within 20 meters of the hunter for 8 seconds, pallet dropping speed is increased by 8, 14, or 20%. So that is right here. Okay. Now, this is going to be very interesting because, okay, so right now what you guys are seeing, when within 12 meters, okay, you'll get that pallet speed dropping bonus. But they're changing it from 12 meters to 20 meters. And I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. Maybe I'm just dumb and I haven't figured this out. But in my mind, if you start the 8 seconds faster when they're, still far away from you, then my problem with that is that there's a chance that the 8 seconds can run out. You know what I mean? I'm sure that this is a counter in some sort of way. But as an example, right? So right now, it's at 12 meters. So you have to be within 12 meters of me. And then I have 8 seconds to throw the pallet down. Okay? With an increased speed in doing so, which means that you have to be closer to me. That means that if I'm transitional kiting, when you finally catch up to me within that 12 meters, this activates, right? But they're changing this now to 20 meters, which is very interesting because if you start rotating and they come within that 20 meters, I'm fearful that 8 seconds will start activating. I don't know the specifics of this. I don't know how that cooldown works. I don't know anything like that. But what you need to know about the Horsefly Effect is that it is changing from 12 meters to 20 meters, whether that's a good or a bad thing. I really haven't been able to figure out, but since we're on this, we should explain that Horsefly Effect is actually changing with Bad Example. So this is where Bad Example is. So when you are within 12, 18, or 24 meters of the rocket chair with a survivor on it, movement speed is increased by 4, 6, or 8%. This is very beneficial because now it means that almost all kiters are going to have this Horsefly Effect. So if somebody does catch you off guard, you have this ability to throw the pallets down a little bit faster to stun that hunter. This is a very good change that they're changing Horsefly Effect with Bad Example. So these two are switching. Okay, so that now means that Horsefly Effect is going to be utilized by every single kiter in the game using a kite and build. That makes sense. Furthermore, Bad Example makes sense on a Tide Turner build because when you are within 24 meters of a rocket chair with a survivor on it, movement speed is increased up to 8%. This is going to make it a little bit easier for survivors to get where they need to go. and to also survive. So these two switching makes perfect sense, and it should have happened a long time ago. Okay, so two things from this point. Horsefly effect is changing, and it's getting switched with bad effect. Okay, so these two are going to change here. Bad example is going to help people rescue, so it shouldn't really be on the left wing anyways. And Horsefly effect is going to help kiters, and we all know that that left build is more so a kiting build anyway. So this makes perfect sense. As to the Horsefly effect in the 20 meters from the 12 meters, haven't really been able to figure out if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet. Okay, so now let's talk about the catfish effect. Okay, so the catfish effect, I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember where it is. Catfish effect is right here. All right, so how it is now, when you are placed on a rocket chair, other survivors within 12, 18, or 24 meters gain a 4 to 6 to 8% movement speed. All right, this is changing now. It says when you rescue a teammate from the rocket chair, you will obtain a 5, 10, or 15% speed boost for 3 seconds. This isn't that bad, in my opinion, because not only is it going to help you body block your teammates better. So there's two side effects of changing this. Not only is it going to be easier for survivors now to body block because of that movement speed bonus, all right, especially when you save from the left side of the rocket chair, okay? But the other thing to remember is that for certain characters that are really good at hitting you and then trying to get the double down, this is going to allow you to separate a little bit more. Catfish effect was only when you were on the rocket chair, okay? So now it's when you rescue a teammate from the rocket chair. So this is going to be more based on the reality that a lot of the Tide Turner characters are usually not the ones that get put into a rocket chair first. These are your mercenaries, your first officers, your game, or rather your gravekeepers. So with that being said, you're really going to see this benefit rescuing characters more, because a lot of the Tide Turner builds, they're not on the rocket chair first. So this is going to help the rescuer body block or even run away a little bit faster now upon the rescue. So instead of punishing, or rather rewarding the survivor for going down, this is going to reward the survivor for being up and going for the rescue, okay? Which makes so much sense for Tide Turner build characters. That makes perfect sense, okay? The other thing that I want you guys to know is that Distress and Mech Elite are changing or repositioning. So this is Mech Elite. This is Distress. This is a very, very important thing. All right. Because a lot of people like to build towards sticker. So now that Mech Elite and Distress are going to be changing. All right. This is a popular thing to use in legendary rank mode. When you get put on a rocket chair, you want your teammates to be able to find out who is going towards that rocket chair because you have no communications. So it's popular to build these two. So you build down and you build here. So in legendary rank mode, your survivors know exactly who is going in for the rescue, just in case there's any confusion. This is getting changed. And this is really good for survivors, because this now means that survivors don't have to waste 2 points over here. That now means that they can reinvest up here, get that ability for everybody to see them, and now they can build towards sticker and not have to waste an additional point to get to there. So that is a really big deal for survivors. And again, Symbiotic Effect. So let's go through a rundown just of the survivors. Symbiotic Effect is changing, all right? Horsefly Effect is going to be changing. It's going to be better. It's going to reposition with bad example, okay? Catfish Effect is going to be changing, and that's beneficial for you rescuing. So you can either body block or get the hell out of there, so you're also not going down. This is going to benefit a lot of the rescue characters. Okay, you're going to get that initial boost. All right, there's another change called Curiosity. Curiosity is for all of the players who use borrowed time, which should be the entire population. Okay, and for Curiosity, they're going to add a bonus. So when there's only 3 ciphers left, it will display the outline of the 3 ciphers for 5 seconds. That's going to help players in legendary rank mode big time when they're trying to find which ciphers there are and there's a lack of communication. Okay, these additions, in my opinion, are needed. I think they're required because in legendary rank mode, people can't communicate with each other. So they're trying to make up for that a little bit, especially since Hunter's win rates, especially in China, are actually higher in every single tier than survivors in every category. So a lot of the players in NAEU saying it's a survivor-based game. The data, at least in China, I know to different servers, suggesting that it's actually a hunter-based game. So these are good additions for them. Let's talk about the hunters. Change that they're going to make is with cat and mouse. And so this is going to change. So 50 seconds after the match has started, if all survivors are still at full health, their outlines will be displayed for 5 seconds. This is huge. This is a very, very big change. And the reason being so is that obviously you guys can see what's on the screen right now, and that's going to change into what I just said. But one of the popular strategies that we see is if you go against a survivor who's usually too powerful, such as, let's say, a mercenary or a good gravekeeper or a first officer, it is very popular for hunters to move on. What's good about this change is that this is going to work very, very well for hunters with teleport. Especially for the weaker characters, this now may actually be a counter to the characters that can't really kite too well. Think of your Mind's Eyes, think of your Mechanics, and we all know what happened with her nerf. Think about the characters that don't really have too much kite and potential. So really what's going to happen is that this ability essentially means that if you don't find them early game and you have teleport, then if you don't injure somebody for 50 seconds, then you're going to have the ability to see exactly where they are and they can teleport on them. Now I know what somebody's going to say. Well, that's not really always a good strategy because you want to hit somebody as fast as possible. We know that. That's common sense. But the thing that's really annoying is when you are rotating on a map and you go to a corner of the map where somebody is and you decide, and it happens to be mercenary. So this is actually going to be a very scary comp because if you play characters that aren't that great at kiting, it may actually benefit the hunter to make sure they choose teleport instead of blink. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but that means that early game, if they can spawn directly on top of you with a teleport, you're going to be in very serious trouble. One of the best things about a Mind's Eye or even a Lawyer or any of those characters is their ability to rotate and stay away from the hunter. So one of the strategies now is you have to wonder if you see those comps, will it be better to use something like this? Ignore those strong survivors in the beginning and find those survivors that are easy to kill relatively fast because they provide benefits to the team that does not include their ability to kite. And so this is going to be an interesting addition to the game, and we're going to see how it comes out. The next one is Wither one. The next one is Wither. As you guys can see how it is right now, when a survivor is placed on a rocket chair and the hunter is 18 meters away, the hunter's normal attacks will reduce survivor's acceleration effect by 10, 20, or 30%. Okay, so this was really, that's actually where Doom Shock used to be, and then they had Wither. They're changing Wither again. So now it's when a survivor is placed on a rocket chair and the hunter is 12 meters away instead of 18 meters away, the hunter's normal attacks will reduce the survivor's acceleration effect by 10, 15, and 20%. So this is an interesting thing. Essentially what it is that when they hit you, it's going to reduce that acceleration effect. But now you don't have to be as far away from the rocket chair. The devs understood that not too often are hunters 18 meters away from the rocket chair. Sometimes they are, but not all the time. So now what it is that they're going to hit you, and it's easier for them for this to activate, and it's going to reduce that acceleration time of that, you know, that acceleration bonus of when you're hit. But it's not going to be as fast as what it used to be, or rather as slow. So now hunters won't be, survivors won't be penalized as much, but it means that survivors will be penalized more. And the reason being so is that now, again, instead of 18 meters away from the rocket chair, it's going to be 12. The last addition we're going to see is no survivors. You can see that within the range of 10 meters from a knockdown survivor, each free moving survivor will increase the hunter's attack speed by 10% with a maximum of 3 stacks. This is going to change, and this is within the range of 30 meters instead of 10 meters from a knockdown survivor. Each free moving survivor will increase the hunter's attack recovery speed by 8% with a maximum of 3 stacks. So pretty much what the devs are doing is that they're increasing the range. So if you down a survivor within that 30 meters, you're going to increase your attack recovery speed, okay? Under this, it had to be within 10 meters, and you got a bigger stack, 10, 20, and 30%. Now they're reducing that to 8, 16, 24%. I'm sorry, 8%. Well, because it can go up to 3 stacks, 8, 16, 20, with a very, very... This is good, because essentially what they're doing is they're increasing the radius of this by 3 times the amount. And so this is a good thing, because what they're essentially doing is they're increasing it from 10 meters to 30 meters, which means that you're more likely to use this now. They know that not every survivor is within 10 meters. 30 meters is a pretty damn big difference and big distance. And so that's going to be interesting to see how this works out when people are still trying to move around. You got to ask yourself, is there going to be more slugging potential depending on the situation? This can be very dangerous for certain survivors who are trying to harass and bully that hunter. Think of your forwards, think of your cowboys. So really what we're going to see is we're going to see more complex persona sort of variations depending on the team comp. I think a good hunter, instead of just using the same persona all the time, what the devs are trying to do is they're trying to make it so you switch it up with your own preferable hunters. If you see the mind's eye, are you more likely to use the cat and mouse now, because you're going to know exactly where they are, and taking down that mind's eye should be a priority, but you waste 50 seconds. So that's where really the devs are going with this. I think that the additions to the survivors are going to be good. Very interesting comps that we're going to see with the hunters. And yeah, so this is all currently being released, or it's going to soon be released. I would like to hear what your thoughts are about this. I don't want to make the video way longer than what it already is. I think it's a little longer than what I wanted it to be. And thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to your comments. Bye-bye now.